Hey, 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 thank you for tuning in to a special episode of the Interracial Perspective Maturity Not Included podcast, a place where we discuss a wide range of topics from any to everything, but most importantly, a place to be yourself. I'm LC, and joining me as always is my lovely co-host, Aaron. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, LC. Welcome back, everybody. But I do now have another question back onto this is what's your definition of loyalty? And do you have limitations on how loyal you would be?
What's my definition of loyalty? That's interesting. I mean, I show it through my actions, I think. Like my friends know I'm very loyal. Like I won't throw them under the bus. I won't talk about them publicly badly, even if we've had an argument. I won't. I'm always there. I'm ride or die. Like I'm the shovel friend. Like if you guys called me at 3 a.m. and said, Billy, bring a shovel and a mask, don't ask, I would show up. That's a shovel.
Ooh, okay. Oh, not me.
Right. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But I also grew up in New York, so there's a lot of mob activity around some people I knew. So I knew there's so many stories I could tell you guys. I can't like put my foot in my mouth too many times. But like I believe loyalty, I'm very, very loyal. And it takes a lot for me to turn away from you. But once I do, it's dead.
So I was going to ask, has many people had you turn away from them?
Yeah.
I just hearing it, I just can't imagine being on the other side. I know LC, you're very similar in that mannerism. When you're loyal, but if you do me over, it's the end.
Yep, dismissed. You would never hear from me again.
It's not that you don't exist or anything like that. I mean, like dead to me kind of thing.
Oh, see, no, that's the opposite. You're dead. You don't exist to me anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I saw an ex and he was like, "Oh, it's sad that we can't be friends." I was like, "No, it's not." And I said, you're young and you're beautiful and you're talented and you deserve everything the world has to offer you. I just don't support you or will let you be supported by anyone I care about. Good luck in everything you do. I don't do it away from me.
So,
sorry.
Go ahead.
You can go, LC.
So how long were you in a relationship with this person?
Oh, kind of. It was like a year or two, and then it was off for 8 years, and then we got back together, and I learned that I should have left it alone.
Yeah, 8 years. That's a big time gap.
Yeah, well, I don't know why the scorpion stung me. I mean, it's, that's all it is. I thought we had this understanding and true love, and, he was just a schemer.
Oh.
No, it's like,
be careful.
That's who he is, and I wish him the best away from me.
Well, and I was going to ask because it sounds like you're very upfront and a lot of people call it blunt or brutally honest, but do people find that, how do they receive that from you? Because we know how it is with us when we just tell people as it is, but it sounds like that's the type of person you are.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, you give directives," and I'm like, "Well, fucking say no if you don't want to do it. Like that's not on me." Like they're like, "Oh, you're pushy." I'm like, "Well, get a back hook. Say no." Like I don't understand not being an adult. I don't understand ghosting people. If you're not interested, don't go. Like, why play games? It's so stupid to me. I think some people, what I've had to learn is like some people take it roughly, right? Like they don't take me well. But I also have to let people get to the point of understanding the situation, which I'm not great with that. Because if I see something and I kind of see the whole picture and I'm like, "Oh, you're doing this, this, and this, so you should do this." And then I have to let people get to that lesson on their own. I can't tell them. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. Because, they don't want to hear it and they're just not ready for it. Because you could be forward thinking and progressive thinking or whatever, and they just don't want to hear it because they're not there emotionally yet. I have to let people go through their process. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, get to the solution. Just fucking amputate it. And I think some people like dating and stuff, like people, I've run into situations where people could roll with it, but they were either in like entertainers or creative people so they could do, or they're Aquarius because I'm Aquarius. And I don't think always linear. I mean, one of my best friend always says, my tagline is, sometimes I'm more Billy, sometimes I'm less Billy, but I'm always Billy. And that's the truth. I'm kind of one way, and I am who I am. I try not to do it in an offensive way, because when I was younger, I didn't care as much. You know what I mean? Like if it hurts your feelings, call somebody who cares. Like I don't care. Then like I'm a little more sensitive and empathetic now than I was when I was younger.
So do you have any like juicy stories from the salon?
Yeah. I can't give out
What's
names,
your
but
worst client that you've had? Yeah, no names.
well, there's a few, but recently we'll call her this bitch. This bitch came in here. So this bitch came in and she literally, I did her hair. It was like 2 p.m. and I had 2 clients after her. 8 p.m. she calls me. And this is recently. This is December. And she calls me. She goes, "Oh, by the way, I was exposed. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I have to get a rapid test, but I'm pretty sure I'm COVID free." And I said,
Mhm.
"Pardon me?" And she goes, "Yeah." I said, "So now you've exposed me potentially and the 2 people I just saw. So now I have to call them." And she was like, "No, no, no. I'm pretty sure." I said, "You don't know. You just put me in that risk." So I had to cancel 2 days of appointments and get a rapid test. And this bitch got fired. I said, "I never want to fucking see you again." She's like, "Oh, Billy." I was like, am I not being clear? I never want to fucking see you. Do you fucking understand what the fuck I'm saying? Because at that point, I'm like, "Oh, I'm firing this bitch. I don't have to, this bitch. I don't even have to pretend to be polite. Fuck you, charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent."
Now, how was it? Because you had to call the two after you. Was that, did they
Yeah, I called
receive
them
that
and
well?
they were like, "What?" And I said, "This just happened to me. I'm sorry this is happening to you." And they understood it wasn't my fault. And I got a rapid text the next day and I called them and said, "It's not." But I even had to call my clients the day after that and say, "Hey, I just got a rapid test, said negative, but this is what happened, just in case you want to reschedule till next
Oh.
week." And they didn't. They were like, "No, you got your rapid test, you're fine." But I could not, with any amount of integrity, go forward and not say this just happened.
No, but glad it was well received and understood by,
Yeah.
especially the two that were there with you.
Then there was a little codependent lesbian who she came in with their wife. They had to hold hands while I was doing the consultation. So I already thought, okay, this is a little crunchy. So I,
Wait, no. So they were holding hands while you were doing her hair?
yeah. And then she's like, sometimes she has a little trouble, expressing herself. I said, okay, I'm here to listen. Especially when it comes to hair, I know how personal it is. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So I said, okay, how do you want your hair? And she started describing it. And I said, okay, for what you want, well, what I have to do is, and she's like, "That's not how I want you to do it. How I want you to do it is," and I was like, okay, you can tell me what you want, but how I get there, like, if you want me to like do it your way, I can try that, but that you're not going to get the result of what you're describing, right? She had curly, like big Julia Roberts kind of curls. She wanted to look
Okay.
like a square, but she wanted me to cut it round. You
Hmm.
two who don't do hair, can you explain how that would work?
And
I
I
don't
was
even
just
know what. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, I don't know what the fuck she was talking about either. So I was like, I said, if you want it to be square, so what I would have to do is, and I'm trying to explain, like technically, which I'm like, this doesn't affect you, lady. And I was like, well, you don't really cut it. You have to cut it square, kind of, if you want it to fall square, more square. And she was like, that's not how I want you to do it. And I was like, and then she started to cry. You don't understand me. I'm not being heard. And I had everything in me. Like I leaned against I turned around and like leaned against my station and like faced her, my back to the mirror, like faced her, was dead on. Like, do you feel like you're being heard now? What would you like done? Because I'm here to listen to you. I'm just being technically answering you how it's going to have to work, like how I have to layer to get it to do what. And she was like, "You don't understand." And then it was a half hour later. I said, "Okay, well, your appointment's kind of over. And
Oh.
like, like I'd like to schedule again. Like, I feel like we've had a great consultation and we understand each other now." And she left. And when I tell you everyone on the floor, there's like 5 people there, they're like, "Are you okay? I've never seen anything like that. What the hell is wrong with her?" She came back. I did her one more time, and then she started seeing my coworker, who was a woman. And I think my coworker said, she goes, "It wasn't you. It's just that you're a man, and something. She's in therapy for
Oh.
something to do with something, something." And I'm like, I've been in therapy too, but I don't remember going off on anybody like that, unless it was like the family that inspired it. So I was like, she's this bitch as well.
Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. And so we're going to ask you 3 questions from our podcast that you can respond to. So, Aaron, you want to kick this off?
Yeah. Do you have a worst career experience? Then we just asked that. And what did you learn from it? Like your worst career experience, whether it's in the hair. Well, you've been doing hair since.
Yeah, I mean, my worst career experience, I would say, was getting asked to leave a job because I was independent contractor. I wasn't really fired, but I was asked to leave. But what I learned was that I was okay on my own, and I was much stronger and much. I have to trust my own talent, and I got to remember that my higher power, their dreams are bigger for me than mine. So I landed on my feet.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So, what are your thoughts on pettiness, and can you be petty if needed?
I think pettiness is a beautiful tool to be used when necessary. I can be very petty depending on the situation. I mean, I do love Real Housewives, and I think, oh, that's a bad read. You are so stupid. Or I'm like, or if they really cut with like a knife, I'm like, okay, I like this bitch, right? But I could be very petty when necessary. I try to be spiritual, so it takes a minute to get to petty for me. Because I always try to see things from all sides and see, why are you acting like this towards me? And then at some point I'm like, I don't give a fuck why you're acting like this. You're an asshole, and I'm about to make you feel bad about your self-esteem and your mother. So I love being petty, like, when necessary.
So, and I have to ask, because you brought it up, what's your favorite Real Housewives series?
It's different. New York, because I kind of relate to all their attitudes. They're kind of direct like me. Atlanta, because they give really good reads sometimes. And Beverly Hills, because they have more money than I'll ever see. And I love their lifestyles. And I actually, I've met Erica Jane a few times, and I just love her.
We used to watch Beverly Hills on and off, but we haven't watched it since. What was it? With the Denise Richards stuff?
Yeah.
I didn't like that. Denise Richards stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like that. I just felt like that was, to me, we don't watch any of the reality shows. We kind of have, like, if there's nothing on, we would throw it on in the background. But the only one that we have consistently watched is New Jersey. I like.
Wait, let me say. I forgot. Jersey, I love. I don't mean to interrupt.
Yes,
Jersey, I love, because I think Jersey's the only one of the whole franchise that when the cameras go off, nothing changes. I believe they are all who they are, especially Teresa, Melissa, and when Caroline was on. I think they're all exactly who they are when the cameras, because they're all family. They're all like, they don't put it on for the camera.
I think Teresa is so entertaining. She's so funny to me.
Yeah. Are you watching it this year?
Yeah, we're watching it right now.
Because she was really petty at the beginning of this season.
She was very petty. She was petty.
Bitch, if anybody talked about your husband like that, you would have lost your mind.
She would have. But that's the thing about New Jersey, is you have to expect something like that. But do you think those storylines are made up sometimes? Like, they're just saying, Teresa's like, oh, let me just say I saw Jackie's husband.
I think they do. They stir shit up for, ratings or whatnot. I think they do. I think this is a really great cast right now.
See, I like all of them except for Margaret. I don't know what it is about her.
I like her mother.
I like her mother. Her mother reminds me of someone that I know, a friend of ours, and I just like her. But Margaret, I don't know. I feel like she's a hypocrite, because she was up in arms about the whole Teresa and Jackie situation. But yet last season, you threw, I don't know if it was last season or maybe the season before, but she threw red wine on Danielle for talking about her kids. Red wine stains. Number one. Number
first
two.
Off, but Danielle is trash.
But no, even if that's the case, I'm very fair. Be consistent. You were mad at Danielle for talking about your kids, but yet you jump on Jackie's side when she used the analogy.
No. Danielle was talking about her kids and in a really negative light. Jackie just made an analogy that wasn't accepted well. And understandably so, but it wasn't the truth. It was an analogy. Danielle was going for Margaret's kids.
But I still think it's kids. I
No, I
just
think
think
kids should be
that,
off the table,
yeah,
but
I
an
think kids should be
analogy,
off.
but analogy is very different than an attack. And Danielle was attacking because she's just a miserable.
But
horrible
what
person.
also, well, how about this? What about the fact that Margaret always talk about how she's gonna throw Jennifer off the boat or this and that, but yet you got your head snatched by Danielle and you're against violence. See, that's my problem with Margaret.
Wait. Danielle's. Oh, I see what you're saying. Wait, but
Remember
Danielle did it
last
to her.
season? Yeah,
Oh, she.
remember last season Margaret
Oh, but
got
they
her
all
hair
say
pulled?
that. They all say, "Oh, I'm gonna bury you under the house," right? Like everybody
Yeah, but
says
not
something.
all of them are like Margaret. Because think about it. Teresa she before she went to prison, she will fight.
Yeah, I was about to say.
She will fight, and she wouldn't be complaining or crying like Margaret would. And I don't know.
I mean,
We're
I
getting
get
on top.
Margaret.
We're getting
I
off topic.
understand. Right, no, but we could talk about it because Margaret. My favorite thing about her is her accent because I could listen to a Jersey accent all day. Like I love that shit. But would I hang out with her in real life? I don't know. Melissa, I would hang out
See, I like Jennifer.
Yes.
Jennifer is.
I like her. I think I like her attitude with
She's so problematic with her. She is tone deaf. Margaret's right about her being tone deaf.
like what though?
I
Like,
just think
talking
it's
about, I can't just find somebody to clean my house, and like people are trying to eat. Come on, that bitch is a little tone deaf. Though Jennifer does look amazing this season, and when she was fell down drunk by that pool, I'm like, okay, this girl, she's got something going on. She's a little messier than normal.
See, I just thought that she was just being drunk.
Well, because her husband did it in one of the seasons where he got hammered with the
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, you're right.
And I thought,
forgot.
you work all the time. Maybe that was their one night out and they just let it go way too far. Because I thought that was hilarious. How often do you see somebody plant face on TV into the ground?
Right, I love that. What I did like was that she's showing the real relationship of her parents. Like, I think
Yes.
that's, as far as like actual storylines go, I think that's a little more sincere. Like, it's a real part of her life. I'm glad she's showing that because last year it was just about labels and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you watch Sex in the City or were you a fan?
It was.
Oh, I love that show. So that kind of reminds you, I know every episode. I've watched that show so many times, but that kind of reminds you of that episode or season 5 when Miranda she just had Brady and he was crying and screaming and she was looking a mess and she was talking about how she didn't have a chance to get a haircut.
Right.
And Samantha pulled out her phone and said, that reminds me, I have to confirm my hair appointment at the John Mandy Salon.
Right. It's exactly that. Thanks, darling. Right. I'm so mad that Kim isn't going to come back. Like,
I know I'm not watching it. I liked her. I liked her character, and I actually liked all their characters. I
liked all of them. I didn't like
that
that they just threw Jennifer L. Hudson in for a random black girl role.
I did not like that either. Aaron and I talked about that all the time, and I just didn't think. Yeah, I'm not even going to rehash that.
Yeah, we know.
But
but I still have one left for you because I want to know what your definition of friendship is.
That's a serious one for me. Friendship is like family to me. Like I said, my family wasn't supportive growing up. So I made these two friends, Carrie and Jennifer, in kindergarten. I'm still very close to them today. So friendship to me is family. Is what family like is family to me. I'm always there for each other, celebrate each other, enjoy life with each other. You know. I mean, if I do end up, because I'm single, so if I end up in a relationship, I want it to be a best friend that has the same freak factor as me. That, you know, but I want a best friend that I can wake up to. So I love friends, and they mean everything to me.
So what advice or suggestions would you give to others who are looking to achieve their dreams, but sometimes encounter challenges?
Don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle because you don't know what's around the corner. And stop in like whatever's going on in front of you, stop trying to recycle something God's trying to replace. Try to let things go so you could see what it's going to be filled up with, because that's what happened to me. The more I let go, the more abundance has come to me, you know. And I'm not, when I talk like in terms of God or abundance, I'm not talking to anything biblical. Like, it's a nice fairy tale, but I don't believe in the Bible. I mean, it's a cute book, but men wrote it with an agenda. and then King James edited it with an agenda. And then, so I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about spiritually, for anybody who's trying to achieve their goals, is like, just keep doing it, because it's going to get better, and and things are going to come true. Like, look at me. I'm honestly, kids, I'm 56. I have my own studio. I just got cast on a reality show. I'm like a celebrity photographer, because some Real Housewives are coming to me for photo shoots now. I'm like, this is insanity. I don't call myself, well, I just did call myself a celebrity photographer, but that's all I could, because I've shot some celebrities, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's like, somebody else said that to me recently. They're like, own that. And I was like, oh shit,
Oh yeah, you should.
Right. But I'm saying, I wouldn't have seen myself doing this in my 30s. I just, my dreams were to be stable and just, have what I had. And now my dreams are, they're growing still, like, and it's amazing. So my advice is, if there's people that in your life you question their loyalty, there's a reason for the question. If there's a question, there's a reason. Leave them alone. Everyone knows the people that are truly there for them in their lives. Stick to those. Don't try to be friends with everybody. And not everybody's going to want to help you in your career. They're not. So you just keep plugging away and doing what's best for yourself.
Yes.
I like that. That's so true too, and spot on. Do you have any last words for the audience?
Well, I guess that was the last word.
Yeah.
And just remember, in your life, you are God's glitter. Like, everybody is God's glitter. Like, God, like, you are made the way you are to be fabulous. Look at, there are no such thing as flaws. At what makes you unique, and put a spotlight on them and enjoy them.
So, Billy, would you like to inform everyone where they can find you?
Sure. There's a few. So there's Billy's Hair Studio 1 on Instagram. Billy's Hair Studio 1 is for my hair link, and there's a way to book with me on there if you're in the DMV. There's Billy Maloy Photography on Instagram. If you want to book a shoot there, there's another link to that. There's Lovabilly, which is my personal one, which tends to be colorful language and mildly offensive. So if you offend easy, go to the other two. And then Billy Maloy on Facebook, because, I do a lot. And I'm working on a new Facebook show similar to this, which is funny, but with not as great emojis. We don't have those. So you'll see more of that. And eventually you'll see the reality show. Look for the City DC, because we're going to be filming, and it's going to do really well.
Oh, nice. Look forward to seeing that. So, Aaron, do you have any last words that you would like to share before we wrap up this special episode with Billy?
No, we really appreciate you coming on. This has been a joy. Hopefully we'll get to see more of you, and we look forward to all your stuff coming out as well, especially City DC. We'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Thank you guys so much for asking me to do this. It's really an honor, and I kind of love what you guys are about and what I've seen from you. So this is amazing, and I'm really, like, I had a great time talking to you two.
Yeah, so
I want to do this in person over dinner, off camera.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, you know what I look like, so, and then maybe you'll get to see what Aaron looks like. You'll have to definitely come back, because we have a lot more we could talk about. But I don't want to keep you.
What somebody once recently said, hey, Bill, if you do Oprah, tell her to book 3 hours, because you're going to be out. You're going to bring up something people are going to go, wait, what?
I know there was a lie that I could. Yeah, we could keep going, but it's a work week or a school night. Aaron, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, every time you told us something, I wanted to ask even more questions to it. So we'll definitely have to have you back on to ask even more questions to you.
I would love it. Any time. Like, if you want to do a part 2 soon, let me know. Let's do it.
Definitely. And with that said, thank you for tuning into this special episode with the fabulous Billy Maloy. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LC and Aaron. That way, you know when a new episode becomes available. And as always, stay safe, stay positive, and be true to yourself.